Hey guys, hey crew, how's everybody doing? Hey, Coach here, and I am coming to you today after a couple of events which kind of led to this week's episode. I would like to share that with you and then what led up to the topic. So I am glad you guys are here, so let's get into it, shall we? Hey, I'm Matt. You can call me Coach. Every Friday, I bring with me landscape DIY education, concepts and theories, ideas and solutions, so you guys can go out and tackle a landscape project yourself, get professional results, save a whole lot of money in the process, and in this day and age, be a lot more self-reliant. Man, after a 20-plus year career in the green industry, I'm bringing with me a lot of knowledge and experience that I want to share with you guys, the new, modern, educated, self-reliant homeowner of today. Okay, first, I was in a weather event recently. And when I say weather event, we're talking about the middle of May. And I was putt-putting at about 3,000 feet in elevation, 38 degrees, and it was sleeting and snowing hard. It was actually starting to accumulate a little bit. Now, we are a lot closer to the summer solstice now than we are the spring solstice. Would you agree with me? Here it is, recording this on Friday the 13th. Where I come from, I would be thinning out fruits of my peach and nectarines and my apples and other stuff right now, and I'd be looking at how many tomatoes have already set up on the first plants that I put in the ground. And here we are with sleet and snow. Another thing that happened was I spent a couple of days with two new friends, Bob and Debbie. Now, these two wonderful people came from the nursery industry as well. They currently have an absolutely stupendously beautiful piece of property up in Montana, which is a little over 60 acres. Now, why do I say all this? Well, first, folks in these parts have not even begun to plant spring and summer anythings. Way too cold, way too volatile a weather. Plus, after decades, and I do mean that seriously, decades of caring for a large piece of property, which they did make their living on for quite some time, my friends had basically just thrown up their collective hands. There was some minimal deferred maintenance starting to rear its ugly head and its costly head. So between the long-term care chores, getting older, short growing seasons, plus a multitude of life reasons, I can see how these guys and many folks reach a point of burnout and screw it syndrome when it comes to landscape care and maintenance. Let's break this down just a little bit and offer some insight and then also some solutions that help prevent this burnout. I'm going to speak to both homeowners and landscape professionals as well. And professionals, period. But, my expertise happens to be in the landscape industry, but you apply it however you want to apply it. Let's take a look at this first. Homeowner versus pro. Let's take a look at a couple of typical scenarios. Scenario number one, and I've seen this, and I speak from experience on this, is new homeowners to a second move-up home, bigger house, bigger yard, older yard. Now maybe you got a child or two on the runway for yourself. Maybe you got one in the hangar. Careers may be in full swing by now, either as an employee or an employer. Maybe around the, shall we say, 30 to 35-year-old mark in some cases. Maybe a bigger mortgage. Maybe, and obviously, if you have any of the above, maybe some extra responsibility. Maybe some older parents needing some care now. Maybe you got some car issues in need of repair. The list can go on and on. And these little accumulative stressors can tend to add up. So that's on the homeowner side. Now, for the professional, this guy or gal has been at it for a few years. Let's say anywhere between 5 to 15 years. You have found business success in the green industry, maybe as a landscape designer, maybe as a contractor, maybe as a nursery professional, who knows, but have kind of plateaued and growth has kind of slowed to a trickle, which is quite common in many cases in the green industry. Why? Why, you say? You know, basically you've mastered the job, whether it be your job, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, or Mr. Professional or Miss Professional. You are good or even very good at what you do, but you have, shall we say, you have growing, younger, and hungrier competition chewing away at your little area of business, chewing away at your estimates by coming in cheaper, sooner, faster. It all happens. It all happens. It all happens all the time. Maybe you have had no new challenges as far as a company direction or creation of any sort of a new niche out there within your area of business, homeowners and professionals alike. So what can be done to conquer this burnout that homeowners and professionals alike face when it comes to either their own landscape or their business of landscaping? Here are some of my thoughts. I've seen these symptoms in myself. I've seen these symptoms in my customers and in my industry colleagues over the years. Maybe some of these solutions might help you or someone you know who is struggling. Obvious landscape problems that are starting to arise that you see, but maybe you're just not sure what to say or do. Well, solution number one that I might add is something that a mentor told me a long time ago. Pretty much a mentor. My parents never said that. All work and no play are a great recipe for burnout. Would you agree? Whether a homeowner who does not have the time to even sit on his or her own back patio because they're just cranking all the time they put their feet on the floor to the time they put their head on the pillow, crank, grind, grind. To the pro who is just grinding out a 6 or 7 day a week because he has booked that much work or she has booked that much work and they're trying to make it when it's there. You know, long-term grind, and I know this from personal experience, long-term grind with no break will be a guaranteed ticket to the exclusive Burnout Club. You will just not be you. You will become a work robot, one of those automatons that get up and go, and they look like a little robot. And yeah, you got that work routine down at the cost and the expense of the other side of your life, you know? And those around you who care at all about you, they'll see it. I guarantee you, they will see it. You'll end up, your personality will kind of tweak a little bit. You can get a little cranky, or worse, in some cases where I've seen, you can just go full on ass syndrome and you're just not pleasant to be around anymore. Today, right now, today, think about it. If this represents you in any way, shape, or form, maybe plan time to make time for you and yours. Maybe a full day, if that's all you got, but make it a full day. You don't talk about work, you don't pick up the phone, you don't do anything work related. You pay attention to either you and yours, or something. If you can do more than a full day, a full weekend, an extended weekend, a full week, for gosh sakes. You know, it says something about someone who's really entrenched in a vocation and a particular lifestyle. It will take a minimum of 7 full days to disengage, to where you can go through a day and maybe not think about work for 1 whole day. Not think about the office, not think about, the PTA or the soccer club or whatever, the things that just occupy our time. You take that full day or a full weekend or a full week, it will throw a huge wrench into things. It really will. It'll throw you for a loop, a good loop, but a loop. And it'll stir that pot of yours up in a very, very magical way. I always suggest change surroundings. Visit something or somewhere that you've never been or that you've always loved but haven't been in a long, long time. And maybe something that you've never seen and you've always wanted to see. It can be done. I'm living proof. I have done this. I am walking out of the years of just pound. You know, for Maestro and I, it took a lot of planning. For me, it started around 2014. We finally just put our collective feet down and we said, nope, we're going to do something this year. We planned out a 4-week work stoppage road trip. We went out and got a huge cab over truck camper, and we did it. We did a wonderful 4-week road trip. Went all over the western U.S. It was a blast, and it did take that first full week to disengage. And when it did, it was like a whole nother light bulb came on. It really was. Now this led to bigger and longer work stoppages for us over the next 4 to 5 years. They increased to 5, 6.5, 7, and the coup de grace, a 10-week long road trip. Each year it took a little bit more planning, a lot more saving, but most importantly, executing. We wanted that last 10-week vacation, we wanted to go out and spend $3,500, then make $3,500 because it made us better people. It really did. We were happier. We were happy around each other. We were happy to be around. And it really was, those were our salvation. They really were. Those times were our salvation from the grind. We returned to Weed Patch Ranch and the workplace, seriously, new people. People could tell that we were new people. Now, can everybody do this? Yeah. Yes, you could, but for the majority of us, we tend to think that we can't. But they can certainly do a version of it, that's for sure. Having never taken days off in quite a while, I can tell you it was a game changer to step away for a while. Now, taking multiple weeks, if it's even possible, will reset you as a person, as an employee, as a human being, as an employer, as a spouse, as a parent, as a sibling, as a kid yourself to your parents. It will reset you, and you will see life for quite a while through different colored glass. So does your landscape reflect your burnout and an IDGAS? I'll let you guys figure that acronym out. Does it need that energetic person that once was to revamp and bring it back to life? Does your business need an injection of the old you and the energy you once possessed? Only you know for sure, right? Here's another solution. For homeowners and for business owners, make it a team effort. Do not go solo lobo all the time. For your homeowners, I have a suggestion to make. For one day, for a Saturday, make it a month and a half or so down the road. Make it a BFF yard day and bring over your BFFs or your family and make a day of yard tackle. Maybe not a complete HGTV makeover, I'm not suggesting that. But a whip it back into shape day that brings a little life into the outdoors of your own home. And then, late in that afternoon, when everything has been cleaned up, hauled off, replaced, replanted, reweeded, whatever, then sit down, exhale, and enjoy the socialization evening with a cook-in or a cook-out. This can really be a mental uplifting when you surround yourself with a little bit of positivity rather than immerse yourself in the I don't give a crap or I'll get to it whenever. Then someday, return the favor. Go help someone else. It's very, very rewarding. You know, professionals, here's what I found. This is a key, because it is a break. It really is. It's a work thing, but it's also a break. Is try a conference or an annual meetup that introduces a new skill to you. I found one year I was reaching that burnout phase. You know, I was tired, I was sore. It was one of those summers in the Central Valley that was high 90s, low 100s, more than the 80s ever showed its ugly face. And then I discovered water features and the education to solidify a new skill set. Thank you, Aquascapes Incorporated out of Wisconsin. No, I am not sponsored, but they can reach out anytime they feel like it. You know, I drilled down on small pondless waterfalls and stacked slate urns with big 45-inch basins as my niche area in my place that I was doing business. You know, I was kind of down to just me and one other person, so I didn't want to get into super big projects. So these small little pondless waterfalls and stacked slate urn water features and stuff were easy. Generally a day or a day and a half you could pop them in. And it created another income stream that, you know, for a long time I didn't think I was going to find anything new. And I was kind of like, rah, 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 you know, gotta do another garden show, gotta go on another estimate, you know. And I found myself starting to grouse out my life, and I didn't like it. I didn't like myself. So I was really glad I found something like that. So tweak something, create a new skill, market that new skill, and find yourself infused with a little bit of energy that maybe has been lacking. You know, finding that new inspiration on a realistic basis can be challenging. It really can. As a homeowner, the seasons of the year can be quite motivating. A change in temperatures, longer days, weather change, and a need to prepare for the upcoming season can motivate some people really easily. You know, you come out of the doldrums of winter, almost everybody gets that spring inspiration, but what about going spring to summer and summer to fall, which is probably my favorite time of year, when it cools off and leaves start changing and soil starts cooling down, and you can start thinking about new and different things to do to the landscape and let it winter over and then explode next spring. You know, in many cases, our landscapes are the most forgiving parts of our property. They really are. A small leaky hose bib can be ignored far longer than a leaking shower pan or basin in the second floor bathroom. Would you not agree? Talk about a yikes moment. Look up someday and see a bunch of expanding wet sheetrock underneath your second floor bathroom. And then tell me how much you can put that off. You know, many times a lawn or plants can rebound with a little bit of moisture, maybe some food. For that lawn, maybe some weed killer and maybe some new seed or some bare spot sod can be put in, and you can really kind of bring that stuff back to life rather quickly after a long absence of regular care. Now try this. Let a house roof go to crap. Let it go to crap and see how long you have to ignore it. You cannot ignore a leaking roof like you can a dying lawn. And then you're turning around thinking, guess I need a new roof now because I didn't blow the leaves off. I didn't keep the gutters clean. I didn't take care of what I needed to take care of because, why? Because I allowed myself to get burnt out. And I got into that IDGAS syndrome. With that roof thing, now you're clicking off an average of maybe $15,000 to $25,000 repair or more for a new roof. Don't you wish you'd pay attention just a little closer? You know, deferred maintenance on the yard versus deferred maintenance on a house or a car can be overcome a little easier most of the time, but not always. Now, let's make a few assumptions. Let's say you are on top of everything. You always have been. It is just your nature and part of what makes you, you. But you have family or friends that are struggling. What can you offer without showing off or making yourself seemingly superior, you know, which is a huge turnoff? Here's a couple of things that I've found, and one of them that I did just recently. Try leftovers. What do you mean, Coach? Like last night's meal? No, I mean leftovers. Sharing your harvest with a family member or a friend that's not necessarily in need of extra harvest, but it gives you that inroad into, hey Joe, you know, I got all these extra peaches. I wanted to share them with you. I put some time and effort in this year, and look, I have too many. I really want you and Sally to enjoy them. Maybe make a peach pie or whatever. And then that's your segue. That's your segue into, hey, you know something? I know how much you guys are struggling. You guys just, you're struggling financially. You're struggling time-wise. The kids take all your time away. The jobs aren't paying exactly. I want to help. And I want to help because I have a couple extra days. Would you mind if I came over and helped you out? And what's the natural reaction to those people who are receiving that message? Oh, no, I couldn't ask you. I couldn't ask you to do that. I really couldn't. No, we're fine. We're fine, Coach. No, we got this. And then you turn around and you say, I know you have it. I just want you to have more of it. And if we work on this together, say a couple Saturdays from now, we could kind of whip this thing up and you can borrow my dump trailer and we'll make a dump run and it'll just help take a little load off. What are friends for? What is family for, if not to help out where a need is seen? Bam, okay? You haven't insulted. You haven't made yourself look superior. You're offering something that's not going to cost them a damn thing unless you want to gooch it up a little bit, or try something like this, which is something that I did not too long ago to some extended relatives. And that is, we showed up to visit just to say hi because we were coming through town, and I went out and fired up their mower. I didn't ask them. I know they needed it. I just fired up the mower, and they're both hard-working ladies, and I just mowed the front and back lawns, and cleaned it up just a little bit. I wasn't trying to say that your place looks like crap, and you need to mow your lawns. No, it was just something that I wanted to do. They were offering up a meal to us and a place to stay for a couple of days, and it was the least I could do. And you know what? It made me feel really good that I was helping them out just a little bit. Here's another trick. Say, for instance, brother, sister, son, daughter, with family members that are struggling. And you know that you always have permission to be at their place. Don't go pushing envelopes if family relationships are strained, etc. But you just show up one day when they've gone off to work, and you just give them a surprise day. Go in there and bust your ass for 8 hours before they get home. Remulch their beds or plant, their annual beds that they used to have with a bunch of bright color, and clean up the yard for them, and then disappear and see how long it takes for them to see it. And the oh my gosh syndrome that settles in over them. Sometimes burnout does not let us see the forest through the trees. We're immersed in this hourly, daily grind that we cannot always see. Our sense of normal is visually and a little emotionally skewed after months or years of, I get around to that someday-itis. All it takes is another set of eyes to see your landscape, or to see your kitchen, or your car, or your house exterior, or your roof, and it can be quite an eye-opener. Or you will have one of those, yeah, I know, I've been meaning to get around to that moments. And it can be an impetus to getting something solved. Avoiding that burnout, for me, and maybe for you too, it really comes down to kind of a life management skill that is acquired sometimes with age, or it can be taught sometimes, but more often than not, it is a conscious choice that one makes, either as a person or as a couple or as a family. A choice that makes the statement to oneself and others, I am conducting myself and my surroundings and my life at a certain standard, and I will not deviate from that course. And if I do, it certainly will not be for long. Bold decision for sure, huh? Especially in these days and ages where life is just 100 miles an hour. It seems like everybody has their foot on the gas pedal and nothing on the brake until it's time for the pillow every day. But what are some of the consequences when you adopt this burnout or the ADGAS syndrome? Well, here are some. How about number one? When things break, and they always do, the repair is ignored, and the problem, which is small and easily corrected at first, grows over time and becomes a costly monster to wrestle back to normal and functioning. Here's another one. The car needs repair. You know it needs a repair. You can hear it every time you drive down the street, but instead you do the old volume solution by turning up the radio and ignore that weird sound, and then one day that car, which has been telling you for a while now, that car leaves you stranded and you're unable to pick up your kids from school, or you're unable to make it home from work, etc. These are the consequences. Number 3, you fail to maintain your fences, and your doggo, who may or may not have the greatest personality in the world, one day gets out and now ends up harming someone else's dog, or worse, another person. Yeah, please, can you say litigation? Would have been so easy just to fix those few boards in the fence, wouldn't it? Your health has been in question. Your health has been in question. And the last time you saw the doctor, last year, the doctor said, you need to make some changes, and here's why. And you kind of go, yeah, I'll be meaning to get around to that. Well, now those problems have magnified, and your abilities, both physically, mentally, or whatever, have become threefold problem. And now your abilities are quite hampered. When had you paid attention to it, and you weren't burnt out, and you weren't distracted. Here's another one. The kids need a little extra attention in one facet of his or her studies. And this is according to their current teacher. And you, at the parent-teacher conference, shake your head dutifully up and down as a parent. Oh yeah, okay, all right, I'll pay attention to that. It is now 2 years later. 2 years later goes by, and the report cards of this same child is reflecting that nothing has been done. And now child is a full year behind and losing ground to the rest of the kids in the class, when just a little bit of attention back in the day may have prevented it. For you business owners, business taxes, both quarterly and quarterly reports, are one of those back burner things to you because I need to go out and make more money. I got things to do. I don't have time to do taxes. I don't have time to do quarterly payments until the IRS audit notice is received and that cold chill and that churning stomach starts in. And you could have said, if I had just paid attention, if I wasn't so distracted, if I didn't get so burnt out doing this all the time. Yes, burnout for homeowners and professionals can be the small thing that, if left ignored, can metastasize into much more serious and costly errors. All right, so let's summarize real quick. Number 1, recognition is the best medicine, not only in yourself, but in friends and family as well. Number 2, a break in the grind, a break from everything, break in life itself, is the first step to reversal. It really is. Number 3, a team approach and team building can help a lot in getting rid and shedding that burnout syndrome off your shoulders. Number 4, procrastination and avoidance are the recipe and springboard to much more serious and costly solutions, which can only intensify problems. Not only the actual problem, but stressors in between people. A different set of eyes on your place can be a godsend. And please don't take personal affronts seriously. You just ask for someone's opinion. That's all you're doing. And then you make the decision. But oftentimes, you won't see what they see because you see it every day. They see it once a year. Seen it 1,000 times. Have walked into people's homes, both inside and outside, and I'll say, well, don't you think you might want to blah, blah, blah? And they go, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. Same thing can happen. Different set of eyes. Finally, number 7, knowledge is power. Up your education game and learn some new skills and apply it to your business or to your home. Infuse your brain and your soul with something new and sink your teeth into it a little bit. You will find energy is still there. especially if it's still within your genre of whatever you do, but you're doing something a little different within that genre. Well, that's kind of what I have for you this week. That is it. If I can help in any way, I am only an email away. Hope you got something from this. I really, really do. Education for landscaping can always be had at my website, youryardcoach.com. You can read about learning how to do all those things, and maybe some of those landscaping things are brand new skills to you. Infuse yourself with it. As always, to your guys' landscape success, you guys take care. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for listening to the Yard Coach podcast. Don't forget to head over to the website at youryardcoach.com, where you will find more DIY landscape education, including the free 15-step DIY landscape checklist, Coach Matt's ebook called Landscaping Simplified, and the flagship digital course, Homescape 1.0. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can email Coach Matt directly at youryardcoach@gmail.com. We'll see you right here next week.